Welcome back to Voice Global. Hope you're having a great conference. This is part of our Fireside chat series, and my guest now is Tim McElreath. Tim is the Senior Product Manager for Voice and Emerging Technologies at Discovery, their direct-to-consumer product division. Tim, how you doing?
I'm doing just great. How are you, Pete?
Well, you know what? We're all hanging in there,
Yeah.
and it is. It's nice to be connecting with so many people via a live conference. I can't wait for the time when we can all get back together. But in the meantime, we're getting to know a lot of people just like yourself. First off, tell us a little bit about what you do in Discovery and the direct-to-consumer product division and what that means.
Okay, so Discovery is a suite of very well-known media brands, including Food Network, HGTV, Motor Trend, Eurosport, all over the world. I've actually been working with Food Network primarily for the last 5 years, and in that 4 of those years have been specifically with voice and conversational interfaces. We began our relationship with Amazon and Google in their conversational AI back in 2016, just as adoption was really in the midst of hockey sticking up and people were really kind of flocking toward it. We saw an opportunity that we didn't quite understand yet. We recognized that voice was going to be important in the coming years, and that it would be important for us to really get in there and start working with it and start learning about it as much as possible to see how we can incorporate into our overall brand strategies and how we reach out to our customers.
Wow. So Food Network, and I guess I got to go right to, the reality of the situation we're in. We've been, at home now for well over 100 days. I know it's really impacted my family. We cook every meal together now. And my 9-year-old daughter is baking and asking Alexa for, recipes and directions, as we all are. I have to imagine that, you've seen a spike in usage of your voice-enabled apps around the kitchen.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's natural to assume that food brands across the board have seen a spike in interest. We've certainly seen that now that people are having to make their own food and doing it every day and looking for new ideas, and so we've definitely seen that. And I think the other interesting thing is we've had to start to become real creative about how we bring those ideas and those recipes and content out to our customers. Our production studios have essentially been shut down, and part of Food Network Kitchen, which is the subscription service that we support, is live and on-demand classes. So before the shutdown, essentially we were doing up to 10 live broadcasts a day out of our New York and LA studios, as well as remote locations, and that essentially stopped. So we had to figure out how we could start supporting that, not only on the voice platforms, but on Fire TV and on our social. And we started to get a little scrappy, a little creative. On social platforms, we had Michael Simon doing live streams of making dinner every night. We started broadcasting via iPhone from some of our talent and some of our in-house chefs' homes and kitchens. And one thing we found out is that it's a very valuable way of broadcasting. There's something about connecting to people directly when we're all in the same situation, right, and we're all just trying to kind of cobble together our lives as we can. That produces a lot of empathy and a lot of connection with our customers. So right, in some ways, it's been actually valuable learnings for us. The other thing that's been valuable is try to figure out how to get our services out to people on a wider scale. We last October we launched Food Network Kitchen, which is kind of a hybrid video educational platform. We bring to subscribers all of the Food Network TV show content, but then we created specialty content that are these on-demand video step-by-step cooking classes and live interactive demonstrations, which is really unique in this space and probably unique in the media space as a whole. And not only creating new content types, but delivering them across platforms. So you can get this content on Fire TV, you can get it on your mobile, and you can get it on Echo Show. So we're focusing specifically on how can we start becoming a daily cooking tool, so that people can get their recipes, people can get cooking inspiration, people can use their kitchen counter as kind of a virtual classroom.
Right.
To learn how to new techniques, new cuisines, and of course taking advantage of the fact that it's hands-free. One thing that we're focusing on as a tenant is how do we bring technology and digital interfaces to a kitchen counter in a way that doesn't interrupt kind of the joy and the creativity of cooking. So you're not wrestling with devices. You're not,
right.
You don't have to, look for things in books or pieces of paper, or fumble with unlocking phones, or standing up iPads. Like, how do we make an interface that can react to your needs in the moment without having to interrupt you, and actually, do what you need and then get out of your way.
Right.
Always on when you need it, but only when you need it is
right.
what we're looking for. The other thing we're looking at is, especially here, is how do we get people accustomed to this new way of thinking about learning how to cook. It's a new type of application, and it's going to take people a while to grow accustomed to it. One thing that we're doing in partnership with Amazon is, there's for people who don't know, Food Network Kitchen is available as a free complimentary 1-year subscription from Amazon if you're on Fire TV. So if you have a Fire TV, load up the Food Network Kitchen app. Amazon will give you a complimentary 1 year, so you can try it out.
Wow, definitely going to have to try that.
And it's a great deal. And it gives you the opportunity to actually try out what a step-by-step video cooking class is like. And it's really kind of a great experience. And I actually particularly like the live classes. There's something about live broadcasting that of just an entirely different quality, especially when you get the kind of talent, both the premier on-air chefs and our own sort of internal experts. This is something about not just showing you how to cook, but giving you that context, giving those personal stories, and also being able to do that live interactive Q&A, so that you can be in the middle of a live broadcast, ask Michael Simon or Bobby Flay or Giada a question and get a response back.
Yeah. Well, that is interesting. I think one of the things that does stick out with me is that what COVID has introduced is this live era, right? And we're seeing, I think it's DJ Nice with the 1 million person dance party, so cool. But also just as you're saying, being able to, people are I think have a new appreciation for accessing live content, and you all were experiencing that before the pandemic. And you've talked a little bit about, how this has reshuffled some of your priorities. Tell us a little bit about working with your team. I mean, you're all remote now, right? So how has that changed just the way that you work every day and pull all this together between the developers and the producers and the creative staff members on your team? How's it going? And are you using new tools to work together?
It's been a challenge. I think it's no surprise for people all over the country and all over the world. These have been challenging times. We were actually set up to do that fairly well. We're a co-located team. We have offices in Knoxville and Bellevue, Washington, and New York, and all over, and offices all over the world for all of our other brands. So we're used to remote communication. I won't lie and say I don't miss the in-person day-to-day with the team. I think there's something very valuable that's lost there. So, and then just throw on top of this, just from a personal level, and I think everybody's experiencing this, these are stressful times, especially if you're a parent, if you're taking care of somebody, just the overall stress and anxiety. And I do have to give a shout out to the company leadership. They've been very understanding about that. And, I think they've been very conscious of the fact that, people have to adapt to this over time, and, make sure they're taking care of themselves as well as, achieving, the company's priorities. So it's been challenging. I think, and throw on top of that the ongoing challenge of starting to incorporate voice and conversational design into an overall product design and engineering practice, which we were kind of in the middle of at the same time. Our voice and conversational practice largely existed in a siloed form for a while as we were doing some experimentation and learning the platforms, and as the platforms themselves were developing and figuring themselves out. When Food Network Kitchen launched, I think the thing that was really most exciting to me was that voice interfaces were a first-class participant in the overall application infrastructure. That we saw, Food Network Kitchen not as a mobile app or a TV app, but as an application that allows users to choose the right tool, the right interface for what they're doing in the moment. And we're really looking to expand on that. How can we use IoT? How can we use hearables? How can we use speakers to really bring people information and entertainment and all of that stuff in the moment when they need it? But the challenge within an organization is how do you fold those practices into an overall design practice? And we're in the middle of that, and I think we're doing a great job, kind of, making sure that when we're doing product ideation, that voice and conversational becomes part of that, so it doesn't end up being designed for a platform and then try to tack on voice at the end of it, or build voice and conversational applications separately, which are kind of detached from the overall product strategy. So this is something that we're really focusing on, those cross-platform journeys, like how somebody experiences content on one platform and then can carry it over and complete something on another.
Well, we're definitely seeing as an industry the rise of voice as really a must-have now. I think for a lot of folks it was maybe thought of as a nice-to-have, but it's a must-have across industries, whether it's healthcare, education, transportation, and entertainment now, and how we consume education and learning. And you sort of fit in this cross section between education, learning, and entertainment. It's really interesting, and I love to hear the story about how voice is now thought of more as a more ubiquitous requirement across different properties. You mentioned at the top of the interview that you primarily focus on the Food Network. Is that is, do I have that correct? The Food Channel?
Currently, it's Food Network.
Food Network.
We're doing work in voice, voice and chat. So we're doing some work in HDTV. Also, some of our other brands like Eurosport and Motor Trend are reaching out to voice as well. I think there's a lot of potential, especially in things like sport. I mean, I think all of our brands really have different potentials, but there's a lot of it. You can imagine, we're launching, Magnolia, Chip and Joanna Gaines. They have their own brand that's coming into the Discovery fold. I think there's a lot of potential there. I think, you take a look at something like Animal Planet or, home how-tos with HGTV. I think there's a lot we can do there. And I also think there's, some of the new content types that we've worked with Amazon to build out on the Alexa platform, like these, live broadcasts, step-by-step how-to videos. I think those content templates, can very easily be moved over to other domains. And my hope is that these start to become content experiences that then become part of the platform and kind of expand what Alexa or what Assistant can do.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, it's an exciting future for our industry, Tim. I appreciate you taking some time to join us here at Voice Global to chat about your journey in voice, and really over the last 90 days, how it's just brought on really a whole new meaning with regards to our industry and the work that we're doing. My guest has been Tim McElreath. He is the Senior Product Manager for Voice and Emerging Technology at Discovery Networks, a direct-to-consumer division, primarily working on the Food Network. Tim, this conversation is making me hungry, talking about all those recipes. I know it's, but
welcome to my world.
Yes, I'm sure. Well, I tell you what, I was imagining, you're producing 10 live food shows a day. I'm like, wow, it would be fun to work there with all those folks. Like you, I really hope we're able to get back together in person very soon. And I admire the work that you've been able to do, through this pandemic. And let's hope that we can get there, sooner than later. Tim, I want to just get your final thoughts for anybody that may be new to this space, thinking about going into voice technology. What advice would you give now that you've been, a part of this for 5 years?
Um, you know, I think if you're looking to go into voice, you know, I would take a look at how you just personally use technology, phones, TVs, to get your daily tasks done, and really start analyzing: is this the best way to do it, or is it something that we've just grown accustomed to because of habit?
Right.
Because I think the push for voice is really, we're trying to create new user habits and how they get entertainment, information, how to actually make their lives easier without technology getting in the way.
Right.
And over time, I think we kind of get used to some of the friction and some of the inconvenience that we've adapted to with digital interfaces. Once you start really stepping back and looking at how you're really using it and what you really need, then you start seeing opportunities on how more natural interfaces
Right.
can really start improving people's lives, and that turns into business opportunities.
Great advice, Tim. Thanks again for taking some time to chat with me today. And hopefully we'll be seeing you sometime soon. In the meantime, stay safe and healthy. And we look forward to more great programming coming out of the Food Network and accessing that programming through our voice assistant devices. Tim, thanks again.
Thanks so much, Pete. It's been a pleasure.